I thought I'd start out the press conference by giving you a little bit of a background on some of the events that have occurred during the last week. Last Monday evening, in preparation, prior to our preparation for our practice against the Cincinnati Bengals, Jonathan Martin left our facility prior to that practice after an incident occurred in our team dining room. Later that evening, he contacted a member of our organization. Soon thereafter, I contacted Jonathan personally, requested a meeting with him, at which he readily accepted. I met with him later that evening. We had a good discussion. Throughout the course of the week, I was in contact on multiple occasions with both him and members of his family. Spoke to him after the game, the day after the game, and spoke to members of his family over the course of the weekend. As the weekend unfolded early on Sunday, as you well know, as an organization, we released a statement that was 100% factual. Soon thereafter, we were contacted by representatives of Jonathan. And before I say that, I should let you know that in all my discussions with Jonathan and members of his family, at no time were there any accusations or allegations of misconduct by any members of this team or this organization. Later on Sunday, we were contacted by one of his representatives where they in fact had some concerns over player conduct that had occurred. We immediately took those concerns very, very seriously. Our owner, Steve Ross, who had been involved throughout the entire process, contacted the commissioner, Roger Goodell, and requested that the NFL become involved and conduct a review of the workplace. We issued a second statement noting that we had received information that we were taking very seriously, all right, and that we were gathering information on. Throughout the course of the day, we gathered more and more information. At the end of the day, I decided to suspend Richie Incognito based on the information that I had at that time. The NFL is going to conduct a review of the workplace. It's going to be comprehensive, it's going to be objective, and we are going to give, as an organization, our full and complete cooperation with the NFL. That's really where things are as of today. I want you to know that as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, I'm in charge of the workplace atmosphere. Since April 10th, 2012, when the players first came here and I was the head coach, every decision I've made, everything we've done to this facility has been done with one thing in mind, and that is to help our players and our organization reach their full potential. And any type of conduct, behavior that detracts from that objective is not acceptable. It's not tolerated. You know, two of my children go to school right behind here at the university school. You know, and as a parent, when they walk in those doors, I have certain expectations that the administration, the teachers, and the staff are going to create a safe atmosphere where my children can learn and develop as people. And this is no different. I take this responsibility very seriously, that these players, when they walk into this door, all right, they feel like they have the best medical care, all right, they have the best strength and conditioning care, the best coaching, the best fields to practice on, the best technology, the best classrooms to learn in. That's very important to me. I will tell you that if the review shows that this is not a safe atmosphere, I will take whatever measures are necessary to ensure that it is. I have that obligation to the players that I coach on a daily basis, and I will do that. So, any questions on that?
Coach, have you heard from Richie Incognito, and if you have, are you satisfied with the apology that he's given you personally?
Again, I've been in contact with Richie. Any conversations that I have with any player on this football team are personal and they're confidential in nature.
Coach, before last Monday, did you have any inkling yourself that anything remotely resembling this was going on in your locker room?
Again, that falls under what the NFL review is here for. NFL review is here for.
Have any idea that this was?
Again, I'm going to tell you that I want to make clear too this, that my focus right now, all right, is on the men in the locker room preparing our football team to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I will give my full and complete and total cooperation with the NFL when that takes place. The timeline on that I don't have the specifics of. I will tell you that I will be in full and complete cooperation with them. I will answer everything honestly to the best of my knowledge. But I'm not going to be what I'd like to make sure everybody understands is that there's not going to be comments during the course of this investigation until we get all the information and we come together on that information.
A year ago, we've seen on national television what sure seemed like instances of hazing, maybe even bullying by Richie Incognito. How could you have missed that? It was on TV.
What was that?
Hacking into Facebook accounts, talking about somebody's girlfriend.
I never saw it.
You never saw it?
I never saw it. What was it on TV? On Hard Knocks? I never saw the show. Not once. I was working at that time.
Joe, what was it? Is there a culture though in locker rooms that maybe things that happen in locker rooms stay in locker rooms, hazy, any kind of maybe what he's doing? Is that like life in the NFL? Because that seems to be something maybe that's part of the game.
Again, I think each locker room has its own culture, its own identity. I can't speak to other locker rooms how they do things.
Do you see that where rookies get hazed or picked on in any way, even if it's lighthearted, even if some of it's lighthearted? Is that something you see?
I think there's, I personally think laughter in a work environment is a good thing, not at the expense of an individual, all right? But I think laughter can be a healthy, productive thing, but not in a demeaning way at the expense of an individual.
On Sunday night, you said that based on what you had heard that day, you decided to suspend Richie. What did you see that made you feel in your gut that he should be on this team?
Again, the information that I received, I took under consideration, and I felt this was the appropriate action. I'm not going to get into the specifics of what it was, but I had enough information, I felt, to make a good decision, and that's exactly what I did.
Do you think maybe that was a trust that was misplaced?
It's the leadership council is selected by the players. I have a lot of confidence in our players. I have a lot of confidence in the locker room, the character of the men that we have in the locker room, and he was selected by his teammates.
So is there racism on your team? Is there racism on your team, Coach? That voicemail certainly seemed to have some racist undertones.
Again, that's going to fall under the review of the NFL.
We'll take a few more questions, guys.
About the situation, obviously it's something they're going to hear about.
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning.
Will you address the team, or will you address the players at all about this situation?
Yeah, we've addressed it in the team meeting, yes.
After your initial conversation with Jonathan Martin, did you think that this was a serious matter, and did you talk to Richie at that point?
Again, I'm not going to get into the discussions that I've had with. I don't do that in any situation. I can tell you.
Did you think it was a serious matter after your initial conversation with Jonathan?
There was never any. He never mentioned to me any accusation of any inappropriate behavior. Was never mentioned to me at any point. Not in the meeting that I had with him. Not in the phone conversation that I had with him.
We'll take two more.
Did you say that Jonathan's representative yesterday had allegations involving one player or more than one? I didn't hear you clearly whether you said player or players.
A player.
Now, last one.
How likely is it that either Martin or Incognito ever play for the Dolphins again?
Again, right now the focus is on the football team, the men in the locker room right now, preparing our team for Tampa Bay. there'll be a time and a place for all that stuff.
Have the last 4
thank you
days
very
been
much,
miserable,
guys.
Coach? Have the last 4 days for you been miserable? Can you describe what the atmosphere has
Absolutely
been?
not. No, it's a privilege to serve as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. I feel fortunate every single day I come to work. I work with a great group of men, great staff, support staff. Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you. Guys, thank you very much. We've got to get our coaches in here. We've got to get the locker room open. Thank you very much.